Let's talk about why math is important in early childhood. Because research tells us that early math proficiency is associated with later proficiency in math and reading. Having some understanding of early math, right? Having some understanding of how numbers work, counting, that kind of stuff. The correlation between the symbol of a number and the thing in your hand, right? I have the number 3, I have 3 pencils. That is something that children use to build their reading skills. It's the correlation between the thing and the symbol is a developmental skill that you use in reading. So early math isn't just about math, it's about reading as well. Children who begin school with poor math skills typically do not catch up. I would also add to that, children who begin school with poor math attitudes typically do not catch up. So making math fun and interesting in early childhood will help children as they go through school. Um, Math skills at school entry predicted math skills and even reading skills in second and third grade. So we don't think about math in early childhood so much. We think about kids learning to speak and read, but math is super important across the board for cognitive development. It may even be linked to high rates or rates of high school graduation. The better you are at math in early childhood, the more likely you may be to graduate from high school. So, what do we need to do? We need to make math experiences for children engaging, exciting, interesting. We need to meet them where they are and scaffold. So, what that means is we need to figure out what their understanding of math and numbers and that part of the world, and then move them beyond that, help them move beyond. So we encourage exploration, planning. We want to have real world experiences. The best way for little kids to learn numbers is to touch things, to physically count things, right? To move things around. And when we're talking about math, it's not just counting, it's not just adding and subtracting numbers on the page. We're talking in early childhood about making patterns using a red checker and a black checker, a red checker, a black checker, a red checker, a black checker, or a red checker, a black checker, a black or a green block. Patterns are one of the first ways that children learn to develop their math skills. So we also need to talk about appropriate terms to describe math concepts, adding, subtracting, dividing. We want to build on children's experiences and be culturally responsive. So things that we do in the classroom, we want to make sure are experiences that all children may have had. The benefits of both math play and structured curriculum. More structure as children develop and concepts become familiar. So what you want to do, and you want to do this throughout early childhood learning, is make things playful and interesting. And as children develop that and become interested and engaged in that, then you start layering concepts on top of that, right? We talked about math learning impacts literacy learning, and research has shown that 30 minutes a day can be helpful. So we talk about 30, 20, 30 minutes a day of reading. Maybe we need to think about how we include in our day, in our classroom, 30 minutes of math experiences. The early math concepts that we're going to talk about that everyone learns, or everyone we try to teach, we try to experience and expose children to in early childhood, is counting and operations, patterns and algebra, spatial relations and geometry, measuring and estimation, and data gathering and analysis. And that's how we're going to talk about math concepts throughout this semester. So these are the National Association for the Education of Young Children and the National Council of Teachers of Math Early Childhood Mathematics policy statement. And basically they're saying it's important, we think it's important, teachers of young children and teachers of math think it's important that children be exposed to early childhood mathematics, that it enhances their natural interest, that it isn't forced upon them, that we're taking things that they understand and are interested in and making it into math experiences, that we're building on their experience and knowledge, including their family, their language, their culture, their community backgrounds, that we're making sure that it relates to and makes sense to children. That we are basing our teaching practices and curriculum on knowledge of children's development, right? So it's developmentally appropriate practice for working with young children. That we're strengthening their problem solving and reasoning processes, as well as representing, communicating, and connecting mathematical ideas. So we're talking about math here as not just numbers and functions, but also problem solving and reasoning, because this is something that kids get from learning math, right? That isn't just the math concepts, it's the concept of how to think. And that's really important that we highlight that sort of thing in early childhood. Making sure that your math curriculum is coherent and compatible with known relationships and sequences of important mathematical ideas. So making sure that the things that you're teaching kids fit in with those concepts that we talked about back here. Providing for deep and sustained interaction with key mathematics. So like if you're doing math stuff, letting kids have time to think about it, bringing it back. If it's something that they were very interested in, do it again. Integrating mathematics with other activities and other activities with mathematics. This is key for early childhood. You're never going to sit down and have math class with 3-year-olds, right? So how do you work the concepts that you want children to understand into the larger part of their day? Ample time, materials, and teacher support, actively introducing mathematical concept, methods, and language through a range of appropriate experiences and teaching strategies. We kind of already covered that. And supporting their learning by thoughtfully and continually assessing all children's mathematical knowledge, skills, and strategies. This is the same as any early childhood. You want to make sure that you're constantly looking at, observing where children are, and then moving them to the next level if that makes sense. So that's it. We're going to watch a couple little video clips about how little kids do and understand math.
Look closely. What do you see?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Believe it or not, this baby is doing math. When Michelle's father asks if she wants more, he is helping her understand quantity, which is related to numbers and counting. When parents repeat numbers in everyday routines, children like 15-month-old Elias here understand that the word 3 represents a specific amount, like 3 bounces of the ball, and that it's not just objects that can be counted.
So what we want to remember is that in early childhood, math happens organically. It's not that you're sitting down and doing math. Like these people are doing math, but it's a part of their natural everyday lives, right? This dad is teaching his child math by counting the times that he bounces. It's an experience that he's having with numbers, with counting. So that's how we need to approach math in early childhood classrooms.
And when Jack's mother points to each block as he counts, it helps Jack begin to learn that each number word goes with each object, a concept called one-to-one correspondence. And here, Ashlyn is learning that numbers represent quantities. In this case, a quantity of time.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, jump!
By playing and talking with you, toddlers begin to understand what one means, that it represents one thing. For example, when Annie's mom asks her for 1 cracker. Later, children learn about the concept of 2 and can begin to count in sequence.
All right. Can you count how many blocks?
Now you'll see that little girl who is counting. Children learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 before they learn a lot of times before they learn that one-to-one correspondence. So you'll see someone count something and they're not even really pointing to individual things. They're just counting and saying those words because they've heard those words over and over again. They haven't gotten the one-to-one correspondence part yet. So that's when kids count things, but they don't count the right numbers.
As they grow, children can count higher and higher, up to 5 by age 3, 10 by age 4, and 20 by age 5. However, they sometimes go too quickly and skip one. Watch how Paul's mother models how to point at each cup to count it, a strategy Paul uses when he counts on his own. Early math skills, easy as 1, 2, 3.
So the idea that you are doing math with young children, it can and should be those fun things that are happening through the day, and you're incorporating math into it, okay?
Look closely. What do you see? Believe it or not, this baby is doing math. In this case, she's learning about patterns. Making patterns is the ability to put objects, colors, sounds, or actions in a repeating order, like lining up a leaf and pebble at the park. Learning to notice, create, and continue patterns is a key part of understanding more advanced math concepts later on. But it's not just about math. Using language to talk about the patterns you see helps babies and toddlers develop communication and thinking skills too.
So now let's do a pattern. Ready? Bounce, bounce, bounce. And clap, clap.
Here are some ways you can help your young child begin to see and understand patterns during daily routines and playtime. Over time, babies learn that each day has a specific order and rhythm, or pattern. Creating consistent routines for your child and communicating about them helps your child learn the order of daily events. For example, that nap time comes after lunch. Young toddlers show that they notice what is the same and what is different when they sort objects, like Elise is doing here with the animals. This is an early step toward making patterns. Watch Raquel and Amelia recreate a pattern they know well, placing napkins and silverware on the table for dinner. Each time they lay down a napkin, they know what comes next and where it should go. You and your child can use groups of objects to create other kinds of patterns. For example, you can make growing patterns by putting objects in order by size or quantity. Here, Casey is showing us how he can stack the cups in order by size. Ask your preschooler to tell you about simple patterns and routines she experiences each day at home or childcare. Preschoolers can begin to recognize a +1 pattern, where each tower is 1 block taller than the one before. When you play a game like this with your child, you also help them learn to count and later on to add.
So how many do I need next to make some stairs?
I just showed you what to do.
Okay, well, how many do you have?
1,
And then how many?
3.
Okay, so how many do you need for your next step? 4. Oh, nice. Okay, let me put my 3.
Over the first 5 years of life, you can help your little ones learn all about patterns simply by talking, reading, and singing together. Stories and songs with patterns help children learn about this important math concept while having fun with someone they love.
So a thing about patterns, before you can do patterns, you need to sort. And both sorting and patterning may seem really boring to adults. Back at the beginning of the video, it shows the people outside on the blanket making a pattern of leaf, rock, leaf, rock, leaf, rock. That may seem like not that interesting to you, but it's very interesting and very valuable for little kids. So putting together a bucket full of two different things. It might be a bucket full of wood blocks and Lego blocks, because maybe everything's all out on the floor in the block area. So you put it all together in one bucket and have them sort that, right? That's a math activity. Have them sort it and then have them pattern it. So there are ways to easily incorporate these math activities throughout your classroom and throughout your day. So putting all the shoes in a bucket and having them sort out the shoes to make matches. These are all math activities that are just, regular things that people do.
Look closely. What do you see? Believe it or not, this baby is doing math. During the first year, as babies explore and play with groups of objects, they begin to build an early understanding of numbers and math concepts, like adding and subtracting.
How many pieces do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of mail.
Here, Emma is helping her mom clean the table. In this everyday activity, she is learning about one-to-one correspondence, or the idea that each squirt of the cleaner has a number value, 1, 2, 3. Activities like these build a child's growing understanding of quantity.
1, 2, 3. All right.
By age 2, children also understand the idea of one more. They learn these early addition and subtraction ideas through play and everyday routines, like snack time. Toddlers also learn about addition and subtraction through songs and stories. Talking and singing together doesn't just build language skills, it can build math skills too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7.
Almost every children's picture book has an opportunity for counting. Count the sheep on the page, count the people. I can pull a book off my shelf. And have counting opportunities. This is Go Dog Go. I can open it to this page and I can count 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs. So counting as you're reading books is an important thing to remember to do.
2, 3, 4. Between 3 and 5, preschoolers apply their new knowledge of adding and subtracting to their daily lives.
1, 2, 3. I know we're missing 2. I know we're missing 1 and 2.
As preschoolers, children may tell you what number comes after 3. And by 5, if you say 2 numbers, like 2 and 9, they may tell you which one is larger. You can help your child master these skills by pointing out differences in quantity as you play and talk together. Using math words like putting together, plus, adding, taking away, and subtracting also helps children learn these concepts through everyday moments.
So how many do you have now? 5. So then what if we wanted to keep going down? How many would be in the next one? 4. Okay. Last ones.
When it comes to adding and subtracting skills, they may start small, but they add up to a lifetime of success. Look closely. What do you see? Believe it or not, this baby is doing math. She's starting to learn about measurement, which includes concepts of distance, length, and size comparisons. During the first year, babies begin to build a growing understanding of these concepts by exploring objects with all of their senses, including their hands and mouths. As parents, you can help your child learn by using simple measurement words like big and small to describe the size of objects.
You want the big pink ball?
So in early childhood, when we're talking about measurement, we're not necessarily talking about inches and pounds. We're talking about what's bigger, what's smaller, what fits in here, what doesn't fit in here.
Big thumping pink ball. Boom. Do you want the little one or the big one? You're gonna go for the little blue one.
You can help your toddler expand their understanding of measurement by playing a fun game together, like fill and dump. It's teaching Madison about measurement concepts like full, empty, a lot, and a little. You can do this in the bath with a cup, too. You can also help your child learn about measurement by using words like long and short, fast and slow.
So you can push it real hard so it can go really fast, okay? Oh, all right.
You might even hear your child describe herself as a big kid compared to a sibling who is a little kid. Toddlers can also start comparing and sorting objects by size, showing their growing ability to notice and understand this measurement concept. Preschoolers enjoy comparing. Who is bigger? Which animal is faster? Which building is taller? You help them build this skill by using measurement vocabulary when you talk together. For example, describing objects as big, tall, short, warm, cold, wide, or tiny. By about age 4, children begin to measure using everyday objects they find in their world, like measuring the height of a friend by using this spoon. Children learn more about standard measurement tools through everyday experiences, like helping you cook or assisting with other tasks around the house.
Yeah, that's 62. Can you write down 62 for me?
Keeping measuring cups in your sand and water table is a super good idea.
Can I see the number?
62.
Measurement skills grow with your support.
Taping measuring tape down on the floor in your blocks area, also a really good idea.
And guidance as children play, help out at home, talk, and sing with you. And the most important ingredient for this early learning, your love and support, which of course is one thing that can't be measured.
They showed laundry in this video about measurement, which is interesting, but I like to think of laundry and children helping with laundry as a sorting activity. So you have a big basket of laundry and you can clearly hold up something that belongs to mommy, something that belongs to daddy, and have them help you make piles or put matching socks together. Those are all, laundry is math. Cooking is math. A great place to do math in a preschool classroom is at snack time, having the kids count how many kids are in the classroom, having them put out as many napkins and cups as you need, and then portioning out the snack. So if it's, graham crackers and everybody gets 3, having them count each time.
Closely, what do you see? Believe it or not, this baby is doing math. Spatial relations, or the relative position of objects and people, is an important part of geometry. Young children explore this concept as they play, like 5-month-old Maddox is learning about in and out and up and down with this busy box. By stacking blocks, Jorge is showing he understands how to combine objects and space, a more advanced spatial skill. Now that he can stand and balance, it's easier to practice this exciting new math concept. Brian is exploring the idea of in and out by dropping blocks into the tube. Watch how carefully he works at this task and how his mom supports his learning by letting him do it again and again. Parents can help their children master new skills and concepts through repetition. 15-month-old Mateo is learning the concept of in front and behind as he and his dad play peekaboo with the cloth. This game helps him learn where his body is in relation to other people. Here we see Noah using his knowledge of shape and position to place the block on a flat surface rather than on the curved block. His mom acts as his coach while he thinks through this early geometry problem. Catherine is exploring how shapes relate to one another as she works out how to make puzzle pieces fit, turning them until they slide in their spaces. And Thomas and Brody, both age 3, problem solve the best way to push the ball through the tunnel. Watch how their early spatial skills help them cooperate on this task. Building friendships and learning geometry, all in a day's play.
And again, so it's important for children to have the stuff, the shape sorters, the puzzle, the stackers, but it's also important that they have the experience of working through these things with others. So the little girl who was doing the puzzle pieces, her mom was helping her, you know, and talking about it, talking about what's happening. Oh, we have to turn this way, turn. We have to make sure this fits, or, you know, which one comes next, the red one or the blue one, why? All of that talking is part of the experience too. Hopefully you can hear it.
Look closely. What do you see? Believe it or not, this baby is doing math. Actually, she's learning geometry, or the kind of math that involves shape, size, space, and position. Here, Berta is learning about shapes and objects as she and her parents play with the soccer ball, and her parents describe what is happening.
Oh, you want to do the orange one? Look, a blue one.
2-year-old Michaela is applying her knowledge of shapes and sizes so that she can nest these cubes. She is also learning about space and position, or what fits where.
So you've all seen these stacking cubes, or sometimes it's like cones or rings or whatever. And you think that really, probably you think that it's a manipulative, like moving things and getting things to fit together, but kids have to estimate sizes and they have to estimate shapes and how everything fits together. So this is a math activity for a toddler.
Her mother encourages this learning by letting Michaela take the lead and talking about what she is doing. Grace is learning about different shapes as she builds with her mother. Watch as she thinks through where she might place each piece to build a house. Her mother helps her learn by encouraging Grace to touch the straight edge and the point of the triangle to show her what's special about this particular shape. Carly is showing us how she uses her knowledge of shapes to figure out the shape sorter. She problem solves using trial and error to find the right opening and experiments with turning the shape so that it matches up. Brothers Frederick and Dennis put their shape skills to work to build a tower. Even though it falls down this time, learning how to combine these shapes builds a strong foundation in early math skills.
One thing I want to highlight there is that the children that were doing the various activities were doing them with involvement from others. So having a shape sorter is a fantastic thing to have, but having the experience of doing the shape sorter with other people, with a mom, a dad, a teacher, I think an older sister in that case, talking through what's happening, those are important parts of the experience of doing math.